I just think that in this country we're always trying to play catch up now because all the jobs have gone overseas.
The UK's got to a place where something needs to give. There's just such huge quantities of debt and we're not manufacturing very much and people can't buy houses. The young people have been left behind.
So whilst there is a great deal of deprivation in Liverpool, there's always been a great deal of hope and opportunity. One of the groups leading that hope and opportunity is Vidal's Gym. Somebody comes along like this and it's the inspiration it gives people. It doesn't matter whether it's boxing or whether it's swimming or whether it's a chess club. It's just the fact that you're coming along and giving kids something to do. The cost of the mortgage has increased that much, so all you're in is the same house you would have been in the past, but you're now both working.
You're saying in theory it's worth double as much, but it's only worth double as much because two of you are both having to work to pay for double the mortgage.
The Manna Journey is the catalyst for change in our world. It's a consistent source of truth for the next generation and current leaders. Our mission is to change the world by reframing our current governance, by using ancient wisdom to solve modern problems, and by shaping innovative new businesses to have a culture of pursuit of purpose.
Well, this is the Manna Journey, and what better place to start the journey than Birkenhead, one of the places that's been so badly affected by all this outsourcing to the Far East. So I thought I'd bring Philip here to discuss what we can do in the future. Philip's journey has been about a man who wanted to start off in manufacturing. He'd been in a factory most of his life helping out his dad, but actually ended up outsourcing. That, in a sense, is the story of this place. But it just says something about the way the economy's changed and the way that now we need to bring some of those jobs back to Britain and perhaps give people meaning to their life, which really has been lost when they stopped having decent jobs, the sort of jobs that would have been here 50 or 100 years ago. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Here we are.
Wow. It takes me a few years when I started my career in the manufacturing sector.
Here we are. This is Birkenhead. They used to build ships here. They used to repair ships, and those ships would go out around the world bringing back goods. They've made an effort to clean it up, and that's admirable. But I mean, you can see just how neglected it is. In fact, off in the distance, there's a boat that's just not been repaired, that's now sunk. So, I mean, it's, you know, the environmental damage of that. I just think that it just feels like in this country we're always trying to play catch up now because all the jobs have gone overseas.
Yeah, it's the lack of any kind of direction.
Yeah,
no one actually consciously looks at people and place and what function. And so it had a function when goods are manufactured in the UK and goods were exported. We start to outsource, all the jobs go to China, all the manufacturing comes in, and no one thinks, what about all these people that need to make a living, they need to have a function and purpose, and they get left behind. So the system doesn't look after either people or place. So what we have is a situation where nobody is looking at the whole picture. No one is looking at the needs of the whole country, and each person is looking at their own parochial need.
Yeah.
And there's no holistic view.
Well, the other thing is, of course, the United Kingdom has a real problem with housing. But of course, the reality is it's in certain areas. People wouldn't be living cheek by jowl in London if you could build here. The problem is there's no jobs for people to come to here. And so you're just in this position where Britain is simultaneously overpopulated and underpopulated. Simultaneously, some people are really struggling because even with earning a lot of money, they can't live properly. And then there's all these opportunities up here that just go to waste.
Yeah, what you have is a dysfunctional system, disjointed, where you've got people here, you've got space here, but you haven't got the potential to do things that people need, and people need things. So we start rethinking about the UK. And start to reshore, and I'm sure this is a place that could do a lot of manufacturing.
I get the impression, I say this as somebody from the Northwest, that basically the business model of the United Kingdom is just the City of London makes a ton of money off financial services and put everyone else on social security.
The state has to take responsibility for not rethinking the overall purpose. There was a lack of understanding of money And the thought that financial services were real, I never really understood what it means not to manufacture everything, just to provide financial services. It never really made any sense to me. But the more I've studied it, the more I've read it, it's completely crazy.
So there's got to be an element of looking at this, and I know you've been here for the first time, where it's almost a metaphor on your life, because this place would have been, when you were born, a place that was manufacturing things and exporting things, but now all of it's been outsourced. Now, I guess that's a journey you've been on yourself.
Absolutely. I'm looking at this crane behind us. Takes me back to the factory. We had a similar crane over the cleaning yard where the raw material, the steel rod, which was manufactured in Scunthorpe or Sheffield, was cleansed in order to ready for drawing it through a wire drawing machine. So we had a proper manufacturing business, heavy industry, lots of skill and talent, employing people that were loyal to the family. It was a very, very close-knit community.
Did they feel like part of the family?
Yes. Yeah, I grew up there. From the age of 5, I would go to the factory and get wear overalls and paint various bits of the factory that needed to be painted. And I grew up with these people. I got to know them all, and they were like family. We looked after each other. And look, it's not desolate. This is all empty. We actually sold it. It's now a housing estate in Watford. But it is a metaphor. I was forced to find the opportunities which happened to be in outsourcing because we're not doing any real stuff.
Now, there's going to be loads of people watching this who say, I completely understand this. I was working in a good job and then the business went bust or got sold or got closed down, turned into a housing estate. And then I ended up just working, in a factory, in a warehouse, just importing stuff. So that is sad. But is there an element of you being positive here? Because this still is a great place, and now it feels like we can turn a corner.
Oh, there's no doubt that the world has got to a place, the UK has got to a place where something needs to give. There's just such huge quantities of debt, and we're not manufacturing very much, and people, because of the huge debts, the increase in interest rates, people can't buy houses. The young people have been left behind. The system of democracy will work, where the young people say, I want meaningful work.
Yeah.
It saddens me when I speak to young people and they say no, they're resigned to the fact they're not going to have a meaningful job, they're not going to be able to get on the housing ladder, which is crazy. So I can see the changes will happen.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and of course, from your perspective, it's been a difficult thing to do, even though you've made it financially successful. Yeah. But then, for a lot of people, it destroyed their family, destroyed their community, and killed them.
Oh no, you're not exaggerating. What this focus on money and capitalism does is it dehumanises. And it's not an exaggeration to say when a company in the social media world is allowed to create addictive phones that mean that young women are addicted to their phones, can't put them down, start to feel inferior, start to self-harm and start to commit suicide, and the world sits by and says, well, what can we do about it? There's no doubt that is where we're at now, and people are starting to realise that if you focus exclusively on money and shelter, you kill. So that's why the time has come now to revisit the assumptions of the model.
I think it's fair to say that the people, the grandchildren of the people that built this great industry and built this great place, I think they'd be glad to get back to work.
Oh, absolutely.
On our next stop, Phillip Ullmann and I visit the historic Rydal Boxing Gym in the heart of Liverpool, where we meet up with pro boxer Jake Barton and gym owner Rob Butler.
My name's Jake Barton. I am a professional boxer, boxing out of the Rydal Gym in Kirkdale, Liverpool. I started actually kickboxing before boxing. My dad was a professional kickboxer and ran a gym, which ultimately led to me going there and just to train and keep fit, which eventually led to a number of fights. And then in 2017, I was lucky enough to be introduced to Rob and come to the Rydal Gym and start training to be a professional boxer. It took me about 12 months to transition from kickboxing to boxing. Not only was that, boxing, I've been lucky enough to have Rob as a coach and a friend in life, and a mentor. As I said, he's been a lot more than a coach to me. A 9-to-5 job would probably be easier in some senses, but it wouldn't give me the satisfaction and enjoyment that, you know, chasing my dreams and goals and doing what I love doing every day brings to me. Next 2 years, you know, I currently coach myself, so I want to continue doing that and helping pass on my knowledge that's been given to me, and help develop young people and give them that same outlet that I was able to achieve. And also, you know, keep striving for titles and aiming to reach as high as I can possibly get with my boxing. But winners never quit. But, you know, if you keep striving and keep working towards your goals, you work hard enough and put that work in, you will get there in the end.
So whilst there is a great deal of deprivation in Liverpool, there's always been a great deal of hope and opportunity. One of the groups leading that hope and opportunity is Rydal's Gym. So we're going to meet now Rob Butler and Rachel Fay from Rydal's Gym. So Rob, tell us a little bit about the gym.
Well, we've been operating here for about 14 years. We started off as the amateur boxing club, and then teaching boxing to anybody really, to anyone from 8 to 80. We have keep fit classes, non-contact ones, because we believe that boxing's good for anybody. Everybody gets stressed out and everybody enjoys the feeling that boxing brings. The skills and the discipline are very useful in life.
So there has been a lot of poverty caused by, you know, some of the docks declining, some business leaving. Mm-hmm. How important is it to have a community interest company that really works for the community?
Well, it's very important because the community in here, you know, there's a lot of people helping each other out, finding work for each other, and you know, the communication between each other and the family feeling here is really important to the community.
What impact does poverty and joblessness have on people? What is it, mental health, or is it physical, or is it both?
Yeah, I'd say it was all of those. I'd say, you know, for somebody to not be able to supply food for his kids, and that brings a lot of depression. And then within that, they go into rabbit holes with drugs and drink and stuff like that. So we like to give it a positive outlet for energy, for bad energy in the boxing gym.
Rachel Fay, young people come to this gym who perhaps have struggled a little bit in education. What impact is that having?
It's having a massive impact, and obviously we want to push it to have more of an impact. What we see is, we see these children, and some of the families that are deprived, you know, other families aren't. The children just don't fit into the system, and then that creates a whole whirlwind where children are on the streets. They're a little bit lost, they don't know what to do, they can't reach out, parents are missing what's going on, and the only people that they've got to reach out to are the people who are going to take advantage of them, and that's when they get into wrongdoing. So this gym's really important because we bring them children in, and we do what's called the bridal education programme. And what that allows is for these children who just don't fit into the system, which sometimes you don't fit into a particular role, and they come in and they're able to then have mentors such as Rob and the other PTs who've also been in the same situation and come up the ranks, and now they're, you know, some of them are professional boxers, and they're doing the same, and it creates like a really positive cycle where the children have an opportunity to do something other than, you know, just focus on a GCSE or academically. They're taught discipline, nutrition. We liaise with the college, so they get the basic, their English and the maths, and it just gives them a little bit more hope, because, you know, the way society is, if you don't fit into school, then you don't really fit in.
What's interesting, Philip, is the minute that you meet anybody who works with these kids, is the fact that family breakdown becomes so critical to it. Things like debt, the inability of parents to look after their children properly, just because they're so busy, it doesn't make them bad people.
No, the system, as Rachel says, is letting these people down. Yeah. It's not their fault that they can't find work, because there's not enough work around here to. And Rob, you were saying that you were educating these children, and then Ofsted came along and actually standing in your way. Have I got that right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard. You wanted to educate more. You wanted to actually create a curriculum around.
Absolutely. But future-proof kids, it was like to try.
And you'd worked out curriculum, and it was hard to get.
But that is the problem very often. That, you know, the world's changing, but the system just holds people back so much. obviously the vast majority of kids, the vast majority of adults that come to this gym are not going to become professional boxers. But, you know, my dad was involved in football. One of the things that I noticed was it gave the kids wider opportunities because they just did a little bit better at school, or they just made a few more friends, or they had a more stable home life. Can you give us some examples?
We've got a chap here, he's now a champion boxer, Sean Keynes, retired now. But he came in and he was a scally from the streets and looking to not go very far in life and that. And from being with us and around some decent folk, we advised him, brought him along, and now he lives really, really well in a nice house, got a good job, you know, and he's really turned his life around, and he's passionate about passing that on. And that's part of our thing. We like to just pass it on. We don't want the thanks, we don't want the money. Pass it on, get somebody else, help somebody else.
It just feels like somebody comes along like this, and it's the inspiration it gives people. I don't want to be disparaging, but it doesn't matter whether it's boxing or whether it's swimming or whether it's a chess club. It's just the fact that you're coming along and giving kids something to do and some focus.
For sure. It's just good for kids to meet everyone. I mean, in this gym particularly, we've got up and down the social ladder, from, you know, solicitors, doctors, and everything in between. There's a lot of people here. So there's opportunity, because if I give the nod to say the kid's a nice kid and he's good, he'll turn up on time, he'll be well dressed, he'll be all these things. So I know what an employer wants, and he wants someone who's got away.
The thing that people forget, Philip, is this, and what we've seen today, and which of course you're very aware of, is that there is, you know, it looks like it's cheaper to produce stuff in China, but the societal cost in a place like Liverpool is absolutely enormous. And whether the taxpayer pays it, or whether you pay for your mental health, or whether you pay for your physical decline, somebody pays.
Yeah.
If you're working, if you're a mum, I know I've got friends, and they're going out to work at 7 a.m. in the morning, and their children have to get them. So, and she's, you know, good parent, but single parent, and her children have to get themselves up, dressed, ready, because they're the hours that are required for her to put a roof over their head. And it's not fair. If everybody just got an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, things would be different.
You're saying your parents are saying my mum didn't work until later on when we were older, and what's happened is house prices have been hooked to. I mean, I'm sure that they're high here compared to earnings, which means in order to, if you want to get onto the housing ladder, you've got to have husband and wife both earning.
Yeah.
But all you've got is a big mortgage, and both parents are, and there's a cost, isn't there? Because if you're both out, who's going to give the time to the kids
and
to actually help them to make sure they go on our advise and have the right path? It's
Sorry, just a second. So just see, what you're saying is that basically the reason that mum and dad now have to work is because the cost of the mortgage has increased that much. So all you're in is the same house you would have been in the past, but you're now both working.
You're saying in theory it's worth double as much, but it's only worth double as much because two of you are both having to work to pay for double the mortgage.
Yeah.
So it's not really a benefit. It's just you're more in debt because both of you have had to go out, and the system is focused on the few at the top and doesn't look after everybody.
Philip, we live in a society where you get rewarded for being the nasty and most aggressive business person, not, assuming the rewards are financial, not for what we're doing here.
This is where it should be. In the end, you have to put food on the table.
Yes.
But the satisfaction you're going to get when you take a boy or girl who is struggling, and you actually help them to sort their life out, and to actually go on to find a job, that must create immense satisfaction. In terms of, to me, obviously we've got to put food on the table. Once you, and it's, I guess it's obviously a struggle, but to me, once you've got to the point where you can support your kids, we don't need huge amounts of money. We need almost a time to give to more people, to help more people to live happy lives.
Anyway, thank you so much, Rob and Rachel.
Thank you.
Good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done. Thank you.